Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building. We have Adjua and Styles P. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
What up?
Good morning.
Yeah.
This is your second time on here together. And this time, Adjua, your book is finally ready, The Ethereal Hike.
Yes.
So explain to us, first of all, do you know what ethereal means, Envy?
Nope. But all I know is I read that book, and goodness gracious, that was... they know I don't really read that much.
Really?
I don't have the time.
You know what?
I
I don't
have 5
either.
kids.
I don't
got
either.
so many businesses. But I started reading that book, and I was like, goodness gracious. That's why I gave you a hug so long out there.
Okay.
Like, I felt your
So I was
pain.
just like, relax.
Really?
And you too, Sal.
That's my brother.
But did you? Okay. So now that you read it,
Correct.
the title, do you think it means? What's the correlation between the two?
I honestly don't know.
No,
But
really?
I just want to
Okay.
tell you, not to talk about, well, we'll get into it longer, but when you talked about everything that happened and you talked about when the officers came to your door and then you stopped
Oh.
and then it went to somewhere else and broke down the whole, oh man. It was,
Yeah.
You had me. I was at home 2 in the morning reading the book. My wife's like, come upstairs. We're
Really?
watching
That's
porn."
great. That's
I'm like,
great.
"No, I'm reading
That's
the book."
great. That's great. Well, it's basically a light. It means it's of light, heavenly, spiritual word. So my daughter and I, we always went hiking. So I tried to make sure everything was embodied, be it the content, the title, the artwork. So basically, I'm on a light hike to get to a spiritual, light, better, positive, better place as much as possible. So I've tried to use the pain in a positive way and basically just
Connect
and heal with grace, so to speak, you know, and also show the synchronizations in between just having time to, you know, there's a whirlwind of emotions you go through throughout the time. So I'm able to connect the synchronizations and
Now, for people who don't know the story, because last time you guys were on here, we talked about it, and I know it was your first time publicly speaking on it, but your daughter passed away.
yes.
And so you had been working on this kind of as a memoir or something for your daughter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, initially I wanted to honor her. I mean, that's obvious. But just, I started writing. And in writing, in writing, I just realized how, you know, our lives are parallel, you know? And also, within that time that she passed, I've had a lot of people that's divulged a lot of things to me.
Right.
And I've come to notice that we're all more similar than, you know, more alike than we are not alike. So just to highlight some things that show us being more common in the book.
Now, the anniversary of her passing was like a week ago, I believe. Right?
No,
When the book
that's
came out.
January 25th. Her birthday is January 6th.
When it came out January 6th. And as I have 5 kids.
Yes.
And that's one of my biggest fears.
I know.
Not knowing what's going on in
And you
your
still won't.
child's life. And there's no way of possibly understanding. But that's my biggest fear as a parent, that you don't know what's affecting them
Right.
or how it's bothering them, because they can come home and they're cool
Right.
and this, that, and the other. But when they leave, you just don't know.
I mean, you could just be the best person you can. You know what I mean? Just try to be open, honest. Allow them to communicate. Allow them a space to communicate. Non-judgmental, unconditional love. Once you demonstrate those things, I think that you'll feel good about your parenting. You'll see that. You'll
Did
see
you
the
change
reflection.
with your son anything differently? You know, do you do anything differently? Any different maneuver? Any different conversations?
No, exactly the same. I'm still the same. Still unconditional love. 1,000% supportive. Same. And that's interesting, because if I felt like I needed to, I totally would alter. You know what I mean? But I still the same.
And some things that you can't change is the circumstances. Like, you can't change what her biological father,
Right.
the impact of her not having contact with that side of the family.
Right.
You don't even know, and she probably would not have even known how much that does.
Right, exactly. Oh, I mean, like, as adults, we don't really start to grasp or start to reflect until we get older, for the most part. So at being 20, she's just going through the motions, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? She's not really identifying with what's happening and why what's happening, so to speak. Well, she did have therapy for some, but again, you're young. So if it's not a consistent and you're not totally invested, you're not really getting, what you need out of it.
Why
so.
does she feel like you wanted to put her in therapy? Why does she feel like
Well,
she needed therapy?
I went when I was younger. And, she was acting out in school. There were just typical hormonal things that, I just felt like I didn't have the patience to deal with. But I still wanted to allow her space to express herself. You know what I mean? And then I also know about the impact of her biological father and the absence of that. So there could be lingering feelings regarding that she just didn't feel comfortable with. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to make sure every rock was left unturned in terms of making sure she was covered, and supported.
Now, being raised as a kid, I mean, you guys were raised pretty much like we were all raised. You're from Brooklyn, and
you raised yourself.
You went out.
You went to RKO Kenmore movie theater where I used to go all the time growing up. That was the movie theater at Kenmore.
Yes.
Rats running around. Floor was so sticky. Every time you put your foot on the floor, your sneaker almost came off because it was stuck.
But we did things our kids would never do. Like you talk about the parade, and you go into all those things that. Do you feel like we hold our kids, like we try to protect our kids too much?
Yes.
Like think about it. Like my son will never know what carnival in Brooklyn is and be out there with his friend. He'll never do that.
This is true, but the times have changed. So whereas we had more leniency and we were able to do things, it was still safer to a degree.
The times changed,
you know what I mean?
Or do we see it more because of these phones? Because they were still shooting, still stabbing.
This is true.
This is true.
But
it was there.
But now you have to worry about kids
publicized
hooking up on social media with random predators.
Yeah, this is true.
And there's no way to be safe from that, really.
Right. Exactly. So it's just a different day and age. So you have to be more. I would be. It's just that my son's a homebody, so I'm lucky.
Right.
So, but every time he goes out and he drives, or I'm like a nervous wreck. You know what I mean? And not so much because of him, because he's super responsible, but everyone else.
Right. You got to be concerned about society. Yeah. Now, Styles, you wrote the foreword to the book, and obviously you guys have been together such a long time. Are there things that you didn't even know from reading this?
Yeah, her. Period. Like after I read the book, I was like, I don't even know you. I was like, whoa.
Right.
He was serious too.
Yeah, serious. I mean, when we've been together almost 25 years, so I know how intelligent she is and all of that, but that was like real writer's work. So as I was reading, I was like, nah, this is real. This is serious. And I was like, but you don't be looking up writing or how to write or none of that. Like, where do you just remember? So just to see that, and for me, I'm an artist, so I look at the detail of the story, as an artist. So I was looking at the story, knowing the story, looking at the detail of it, look how she put it together. It was very impressive to me, to say the least, and it brought me to a spot of just thinking about stuff in my life.
Right.
And that's why I said that's what a good author does, when you read the book and you start reflecting on where your life is going or things you happen. So she did marvelous work.
It was nice to hear about you guys' relationship too in the early days and what an influence you had. Like we ain't sitting on the stoop no more.
I know, but but that's all fact. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like I said, if I'm going to do this, I made a commitment to myself to just be honest and transparent. You know what I mean? Otherwise, just don't do it, because I don't want to look back and then regret and be upset, or just not have any regrets regarding. So, and that's the way it was. That's the way it was.
Now, how when did you ever go after a neighbor? And when the dog and yelled at her to get the dog off the lawn?
No.
Oh, he wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
And no, when you finally got back home and
he did ask.
Weeks later on, did you just say, let me walk the dog over at that neighbor's house?
Well, you might want to say what happened.
It's funny. I walk my dog across there all the time.
Waiting for that neighbor to come back.
At the time, prior, even before, I walk my dog off the leash. She likes to run a lot, so it was we let her run, get her legs stretched and all that. So it was peculiar to me that even happened. But yeah, I did.
So what happened was you were walking the dog.
Yeah, I was walking the dog, and so we're in a residential, predominantly Caucasian
white
neighborhood. Okay,
the
so
suburbs.
Yes, so I was walking the dog, and I don't know, I guess I was just maybe too close to someone's lawn, I would say, and he just took offense to it, and one of the neighbors, and he just kind of intently stared, then followed, then pursued me all the way back to my building, and was yelling at me and saying all sorts of things that I couldn't really make out. And it was just a lot. It was aggressive. It was unnecessary. It was early. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was crazy.
I want to read a little part of it.
Okay.
And this, look, because I know you, right?
Okay.
And I know both of you, this actually is one part of the book that really made me emotional.
Oh, great.
where you talk about having to go to the hospital, right? And you said, luckily, we live down the block from the hospital. And he insisted that I go, or that he's calling the ambulance. I went. And this is because you stabbed yourself in the stomach. And then you said waiting in the patient room was bittersweet agony. Sweet because help was available and now I'd be rescued. However, it was bitter because I didn't know what to expect. I was alone and I had to arrange a definitive story. I thought the best thing to do was to be straightforward and honest. I was enraged with my boyfriend, so I did something erratic. I wasn't really trying to harm myself. It was just a cry for attention. I'm thinking this is no big deal. They'll understand. Now, people in relationships, a lot of times they do get to the point where they're like, okay, I'm just going to end it all. I don't know what to do.
Well, you're not even thinking.
Right.
It's just you're engulfed in your anger, and that's what I was.
So you stabbed your stomach like this?
I did.
And
all right. Well, look, I wasn't happy. I'm not. Yes.
Stab?
Yes.
Styles, how did that?
I wasn't thinking.
It'll mess your
wasn't like,
psyche
well,
up.
hey, it wasn't thought out. It was just like I was angry. I really don't even know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I guess I just wanted to feel like I was doing something in my mind.
Gracious.
And I did. And then I immediately
a lot's
broke
my
up.
fault because I was still am, super ghetto, super loud, super so we both are very two young adults making the way. Like we got some money, we bought a condo, we 22, 21 with a condo. We trying to be live suburbia responsibility, but that
childhood
childhood thing is still
lingering.
it's still there. So it's like you go back and forth with a lot of things. So it's always just back and forth. We argue this and that. Back then we would argue hard.
Well, we
too,
love each other, but
heavy.
the problem
That's what
is the anger when we have a problem.
She don't like
we
me
how to
today.
communicate. No, you want to tell them why?
She don't like me today, but that's
do you
love.
want to tell them
This is
why?
great. I love this. I love
Nah,
this.
Do you
conversation.
want to tell them
Y'all
why? I
wasting
can't
that
wait
way
to
not
share
talking
this
to
story.
each other.
I swear to God, I can't wait to share this
This is
story.
like my wife right now. Do you
I
wanna know
cannot
why
wait to
these
share this
styles
story.
messed up?
No, okay.
wouldn't
Well,
even-
no, I'm gonna go in.
Let's hear. I
Go
wanna
ahead.
hear
So
how
what
it
Go
happened
ahead.
is
Enjoy
yesterday
yourself.
morning.
Enjoy yourself.
Yes, yesterday morning. We're still on it 24 hours later. I'm West Indian, obviously. It's in the book. I was making porridge for myself.
That's
And
soup for all the white people out there, porridge.
it's breakfast. It's porridge. It's
There you
hot
go.
cereal. So anyway, as I was stirring it and it was getting thick, I grabbed the kettle to add some water, to thin it out. Brown liquid comes out, the full brown liquid. So now my normal reaction maybe 5 years ago, what the fuck?
What was that?
Because now
You're on a
he's
radio,
going to
you
come
can't
out and
keep
argue
cursing
with
like
me.
this.
And I didn't feel like arguing. So I was just like, okay, so what's going on here? So he comes out and goes, oh shit, I was making tea. You know what I'm saying? I'm making tea.
Stop cursing.
Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, my bad. I was making tea. And you neglected to tell me that you put it in the tea
Who
kettle.
tells everybody that, Envy? Think about
live
this.
together. We live together.
No man's gonna do that.
Just making the tea. What is
See
it
what I'm
about,
saying?
babe? I gotta tell you,
This why I can't
A
use
tea
the
kettle
this
that
is what
everybody
you can't
uses and
say.
expects water to
This
be
what
in
you
there.
can't say
I
as
didn't know
the
you
men.
put the tea bag in the tea kettle.
Thank
I
you.
thought you poured it
Thank
out
you.
onto the tea
Nah,
bag.
but
Thank
look what
you.
happened. I ain't gonna lie, I was high. I was thirsty.
Okay.
Boom.
I tried to
Boom.
take
Straight
care of
from
the
the
whole
tea kettle.
family. You know what I mean? I was like, iced tea. I usually with a juice, we just juiced all the fruits and veggies. We ran out of juice.
Okay, but we
The
can get
water-
to that
no,
later.
no,
what about
no,
the situation I'm in with the brown
no.
with the
Now
brown
you done
liquid
messed
in
up
my
the whole
Because I
cereal?
made her tea for the household the night before. Who's gonna go to anybody?
In the house, there's
Let me
there's tea
communicate
in the
with the
kettle,
household
everyone.
that I put tea in the kettle.
Yes.
Who does that?
But why would you leave it overnight
Because
without?
I meant to
Thank you,
drink it
Ian.
late night.
See that?
I meant to
You see
drink it
that?
late night, and I didn't. But I made tea for
As
everybody.
long as
Should
she
be the
tells
process.
me I'm good.
So he
I'm good.
so you messed up the porridge.
Totally. Breakfast
Let's
is
start
ruined.
all over.
So what
That's
happened
it.
when he came out?
He laughed and made it and thought
It
it
was
was
a laugh. Stas.
Yes.
It was a laugh.
yes. It's not funny. It's
That's
not
kinda
funny.
though. You
It wasn't
poured
funny.
You
The
poured
whole
the tea in the porridge. I'd have
no.
giggled at first too, because you mad.
It was light.
But
I was,
No, well,
you know what I mean.
since y'all talking
This
about
goes. These could last in the marriage.
Yes.
See, this what people don't understand. The regular listener out there doesn't kind of know. It's the small things. It's not
Very
even the
true.
big things.
Very true.
It's those very small things that could go for 3 days and
Yes.
2 days in the
Styles, you
conversation.
were wrong though.
Thank you.
I was definitely
Thank
wrong,
you.
but I
Okay,
said
there we go.
sorry,
Okay.
and I understand. And she was still mad. See, I was leaving that part out.
It's
Okay.
the body language by then. It was
Sorry,
like,
he said
this.
sorry. You apologized.
See what I'm saying?
you know
Envy?
about
If it
body
was a
language.
real apology-
You know about body language, Envy.
Right? And I know that drive here was horrible. Those drives be horrible after
He probably was
that.
like, sorry, I
Horrible.
messed up your little
It's
porridge.
like I can't And then you over the porridge, then something else happens, then the porridge thing is back. We got over the porridge.
No, it led to something else.
But that's marriage. I think we've back to I think I've passion is always until you get older and understand your passion, it can lead either way.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? It could kind of go left or it could kind of go right. And especially we come from a lot of us come from broken homes or one parent homes or a poor neighborhood, so you don't really get to see that many family structures or so and so, like you know what I mean. So we're growing up, like I often say, like, and it sounds funny, but like growing up, if I didn't make it a rap, I always used to, before we was years deep in a relationship, I was like, I would have never even got a lady like her or these other ladies. So when you're a young fella, that's what's kind of on your mind. Because the bus, the
You
guy
really
who
couldn't have got Adjua if you.
But the thing about it
The
is
stopper
also
could get nobody.
when you have anger problems and they land you into enough bad situations, then you start to reflect. It's
For
just
sure.
that simple. You know what I mean? So with both of us, like we've had enough situations where we've had to be like, all right, we're good. We're so good here, but we're so bad here.
Right.
And this is all based off of lack of communication and anger issues that we're both, individually.
And the
have
fact that
had.
you know what it is too, in most relationships, I noticed that people like to win.
Yes.
Instead of solve.
He's
I
so
do the
I've
same
never
competitive.
thing.
won. You can't even point
No,
to me
but
if
he's
I've never won.
competitive overall.
That doesn't
He's
even make
competitive
sense.
overall.
You see how she pointed fast? Asked her how many times
never
have I
won.
won?
I say the same thing.
Like you point, you
I
go.
always lose.
I've
So
never
why you-
win.
so why
What's
even
losing to
fight?
you? What's losing
But
to
it
you?
shouldn't be
Because
win or lose.
sometimes
Right, exactly.
I can explain for Ambi
Exactly.
what losing is for his wife. Because sometimes you want to get your point across and it to be heard without drama or conflict and just to go, hey, this was just my point. Not that I'm trying to beat your point. Not that I'm trying to prove your point wrong. Women are, I
We gotta
admit,
listen- we gotta listen
see,
to your
I'm a
point of
guy
view.
that'll say women are smarter than men.
Absolutely.
I have no problem admitting that. That's clear as day. But you guys, the emotions that makes the arguments irrational sometimes.
You're right. I will say a lot of times I don't listen to the other point of view. Like I have my point
See,
of view.
and that's the thing. Let me just get my point
But I'm
across.
humble about it, and
without
I'll tell
you
him.
looking funny.
Right.
I'll
without
say,
that
you know what? I
attitude.
should have listened here. I apologize.
there you go.
He'll never say it.
That's
he'll never.
true. He said
he'll never
halfway.
give me. You were right.
He about to
You
choke.
were
Always
right.
say you right. Wow.
Whatever.
You
How
said,
many
wait, you
times-
guys are
how
on
many
marriage
times
boot
did she say
camp.
you're
Whatever.
right?
Exactly.
You guys are on marriage boot
Yes.
camp, so we're gonna see some of
Yes.
this play out.
Well, yeah.
OMG.
How many times do you say he's right?
Well,
When he's right.
when he's right.
there you
Yeah.
go.
What is that?
When he's right. Like he's been wrong for the last 4 times, so he's not right now.
He doesn't have a good track record.
Yeah. So no.
So we get.
But
to
I'll give it to him. I'll
You
definitely give
definitely-
it to him.
What made you guys decide to do marriage boot camp? First, you guys did Black Love, which I really enjoyed watching,
Yeah.
and then marriage boot
Because
camp.
I need therapy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a combination
I
of
wish
things.
I wish Dr. Ish could live with me.
He's so good.
Yeah,
Or
that's
the
what
judge.
I
So
Everybody
real.
says that.
I really
He's so
wish-
authentic.
We had
He's so
Jocelyn
genuine.
up here the other
Oh,
day. and
I
MG.
really wish I could live with Dr. Ish. Or I could see him once a week
Yeah,
or
he
something.
needs him in his
Super
closet. Like seriously, he's so great. He's so good.
What makes him so good? Tell us about it. I mean, it's the
Well,
second time we heard this.
he knows how to communicate with him. He's not threatened. He's not intimidated. He just feels.
I have to be a threatening
Well,
character.
I mean, he just feels really secure in
I sell
expressing
fruits and
himself
veggies. Like,
entirely. You know what I'm
He
saying?
said I sell fruits and veggies.
Listen, a lot
Right.
of people are apprehensive to say how they really feel when
Right.
to him, and for him, he was just like, "No, Styles, look at me." I was like, "Oh shit."
Now we think when
It's like-
people go on marriage boot camp, we feel like, oh, the relationship's in danger. What's
Well-
happening? So what made you guys say this is what we're doing?
Well, for us, it was more strength. Everything is strengthening at this point. So, I mean,
Every relationship
lost
is
our
in
child,
danger
so,
when you
you know,
don't
we-
continue to learn and grow.
we don't. But you know what he made very clear to us, which we couldn't articulate, but I think we understood it, was that we're on our third marriage. He said our first marriage was when he stepped out of the marriage. No, our first marriage was our marriage.
Right.
Our second marriage was when he stepped out of the marriage. Our third marriage was when we lost our child. So we're on our third marriage. So forget about the other 2 marriages and realize we're in a new clean slate. What we need to focus on is not where we were. You understand? Like we
Right.
have a whole new
Be in the
game
present
plan.
and the
yeah.
future. Mhm.
So with that clarity, bringing that concept So
People expect to really see.
it just snapped. It just clicked. It was
People
like, wow,
really expect to
we
see
really
the
aren't
best
the
out
same,
of relationships all the time. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And out of people. Somebody, I guess, said to us, to me rather, the other day, you guys portray to have the perfect relationship. I said, I've never even heard of that.
You guys look perfect.
We've
You guys look
been
perfect.
together for a lot
that's
of
why
years.
we do the podcast.
You
man.
guys-
And every
Far
relationship,
from it.
Yeah.
a relationship really takes a lot of work. Is what people don't really say. Especially, I'm pretty sure for women, it's probably easier for y'all because y'all are smarter. No, I'm just saying, as
She was
men.
like,
No,
it's
I'm
nice.
not. I'm just saying. I'm giving y'all credit, saying y'all are smarter. So, Jesus Christ, Jesus. But what
I
I'm
get what you're saying. I get what
you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? For a man to work himself up to be emotionally vulnerable, balanced, try to figure out things, communicate. That's not really my cup of tea.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's
But
hard
that
to
makes it
describe.
harder for us to
yeah,
have
that
to-
makes it
to-
hard to describe some days. That's not what I'm really. That's not my thing. But I'm gonna do it and willing to do it for the thing, which is probably most guys in general. At least 7 out of
For a
10.
cosigner.
It's the truth. No, you play.
I just need somebody to co-sign to say it when I'm not
Don't
around.
mess up your credit
He's looking for
co-signing
a
this.
No, it's the truth.
Right,
but
right, Envy.
You gotta learn.
Come on.
though. No, it's the truth. You have
gotta
to learn.
learn.
No,
you spend
it's true.
all these years in this industry being tough and being this, and then when you go back
It's
home,
true. It's
you
true.
think you're that person. But when you realize
Yeah.
it's not doing anything for your relationship,
Yeah.
and you
Gotta
gotta
go to work. You
Absolutely,
gotta do
the
work. Yeah.
Well, you
It's
said
true.
this is your third marriage, right? Which you have to understand for you guys in the course of your relationship. Did you used to bring up old stuff all the time?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, that was another thing he focused on, Dr. Ish. He focused on that. I focused on, like, I always felt like he genuinely didn't understand the hurt when he cheated. And I couldn't really, I guess express that to him without it turning into something.
Right.
So he was able to be like the liaison in between us and really express how I felt, which was crazy because I was like, I just met you. Like, how do you know how I feel? But it's like I had therapy with him for a whole year. So he really is on task. Like, he really pays attention to detail. I don't know if he sits back and watches people on his off times, but he really knows how to diagnose you know what I mean?
Right.
Or remedy the situation. He's really good.
Styles,
Really.
would you agree with that you didn't really understand how much it hurt her when you stepped out of the relationship?
Definitely. I think, yeah, 1,000%. I think, men, we apologize, we mean it, but I think it's not emotionally enough for women sometimes. And as a man, it gets frustrating over the time period. You look at it as like, you did it, it's over, it's done.
It means nothing
You're
to
I
you.
said
but to
sorry,
her.
I
Yeah,
did
right.
whatever. And to the woman, it could be 3 years, 4 years down the line, you're watching the game, it comes up. And it's
Right.
like, to
You
you
watch
as
the
a
game
dude,
with that bitch too?
like it's going down. So I guess I never really, I didn't what do you call it? Approach it or appreciate the way I should approach it. Like, you know what I mean? It's more like, I ain't cheating, I'm good, I left everything alone, I'm a good, like, I said sorry. So in my mind, it was good enough, and just nothing is good enough. Like, you need kind of a liaison to say, you know, this is this, because basically at the end of the day, really is, she's hurt. What made us do the show is she was hurt, and I never rectified the hurt
Right.
in her eyes. I was trying to find a way and see if these people have some kind of way to rectify the hurt, or for me to be able to describe the hurt. And she felt, Stan, correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm not romantic enough. Still to this day.
Okay.
Probably. And me as a husband, I feel we argue too much, and like we get into too much things. So
Trying to express those things to each other.
so what happens in a regular basis of life is these things come up, like whether we're on TV, not TV, whether we're on radio, not radio. This is pretty much life as you go, and you have to draw your line and say, all right, this is where we work at things, this is where I step back, take a
Right.
breather, this is where you step back, take a breather, this is where we get back up, this is where, as she's like, I am a very egotistical guy. I do like to win, but I never win with her. So usually outside, when I'm outside, I deal with everyone else besides my wife in a different manner. Like, you know what I mean? So I think most men do, and we have a hard time describing that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure
Because
she
we're the
does
only
the
ones
same
that
thing.
can check you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
We're the
but,
only ones
you know,
that can really call you out and be straightfortly honest with you.
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna
even
agree
up here,
with
we
that.
could argue with Envy about something. He'll go home and Gia will say the same exact thing, and he'll be all right with it.
Yeah.
But here, I could be like, that was wrong. You said,
Yeah.
As soon as Gia says it, it's all good. But that's
Yeah.
fine. That's his wife. So
I used to, but you know what? I used to be a coward and a sucker when it came to certain topics because I didn't want to go there, especially the cheating topic. If the cheating topic, if I felt it getting close in our house,
That's this guy. Yes.
turn the game on. Let's go
But you
to the
can't
mall.
avoid it because
I
it's
know-
just going to come back.
But it just felt better because I didn't want to dive deep into it.
Right.
Because I knew how much I hurt her.
Right.
And I didn't want to bring that back up.
Right,
I would do
right.
everything to avoid that conversation. Babe, I'm
right.
tired. Babe, I got a show. Babe, I got to go to the studio. Babe, I'm going to play
then-
basketball. I'm going to play
Wow.
golf. Whatever
Wow.
I had to do. But now I learned that it's not doing
Yeah.
anything but just building up those
Yep.
emotions in her.
Yeah.
So when it comes out, it just comes out like just vomit. It's just-
Exactly.
you know,
You
And
know
then
it's a weird
built,
thing?
It's built up.
Because it's a weird thing. And this is what society, your school, your community doesn't teach you. Like, right? Women have a tolerance and an understanding, I guess, because you have a maternal instinct to build a family, keep a family together,
Nurturing.
nurture, do things of that nature. And I think you're a little more intelligent than we are. But I think a lot of how society plays out has a lot to do with poor brown people cheating. Or if you came up poor, like, you know what I'm saying? You never really get an opportunity to feel a certain way. And then you kind of don't learn the right thing. So it's hard for us to deal with the issues. And when it's time to face, that's why you need a doctor-ish
right.
or someone to give advice. There's no one really to give anyone advice, really.
Nope.
And that's where the problem stems. It's not like you could run to a group of brown men that's successful that are married and
I mean, they're
where
out
you
there.
could, they're out there, but I'm saying
You don't do that at the barbershop.
Right.
You don't go to the
Right.
barbershop.
That's
and
what I'm
like,
saying,
Yo,
like-
I'm having this problem with my wife. What? Let's
Right,
talk
right.
basketball. You don't
It's-
have
it's
those
true. It's
conversations.
true.
so it's for us it's a learning curve and a keep working at it and keep stepping up and learn to have more patience and more understanding.
I also blame it on you guys. And not
The
not
locks?
you and you. No, not the locks.
all right. Oh, I'm about to say.
Musicians, because growing up, we didn't see things like this a lot. You didn't see couples and families. You didn't really see besides the Huxtables. So in the music,
Right.
you talked about, artists talk about big pimping, and you see this one with this girl and this one with that girl. So you kind of raised to make it seem like it's okay.
Right.
And now that we're changing the narrative, like we have couples talking about their
Right.
relationships and their problems and
And you
what
have
we're going
daughters
through.
now.
And we have daughters now.
But that's a two-way street. I'm gonna all the way take the blame for that. And this guy's nothing to do with me and you, but there's to the young ladies, there's a lot of good young men out there who don't have the bag,
Correct.
who don't have the check.
Correct.
He's handsome, he got good work ethic, but he's on fries. You know what I'm saying? He's on a gas pump. His chances are slim.
Very slim, right?
His chances are slim. So when he gets that opportunity, say he raps, he balls, he's very smart, college degree, unless he comes from a good foundation, he may remember that and be bitter about it. Like, you know what I mean? And then be unwise. It's what I believe happens in the community. So we need more. We need more.
But it's true. You need more.
Statements
If you
of,
have
like,
more
you know
of a
what I mean?
balance. You
Like
know
the
what I
same
mean?
like
Then-
that was the worst thing for me to hurt her. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, and what was crazy is at the time, to be honest, I didn't feel so bad as a husband. I felt bad as a friend. Like,
Right.
like more so than it was like a husband. Like, it happened. It ain't really have nothing to do with you. Little head beat big head. Like, in my mind, like, and just that's logical, but not really understanding the hurt and the thing. Like, you know what I mean? So
Check
Did
it
you say
out.
little head beat big
He's
head?
please.
Okay.
Anyway, so they tried to set me up on the show. They tried to set me up.
How?
And I was like with these guys, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like this is not going to work." And I don't remember what they were talking to me about. What
oh
were
yeah,
they,
on the show.
they were asking me stuff about traveling, and I was like,
Oh yeah, marriage boot camp.
This
They
was
asked
so
me what I
bizarre,
said. Nah, I'm good.
but-
I know her better than that. 'cause
"Yeah." I
she's
was
my
like,
friend.
"This isn't going to work. Like this isn't
Like,
gonna
I
work."
know the type of dude she's gonna. If she leave me, like, these are the things you know in a marriage. Like, like if she's gonna leave,
DiCaprio.
we'll be life partners. Like, you know what I'm saying? And she's gonna find somebody. I know what type of dude she'll probably
He said
find.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
And me, 7 chicks every day.
7 chicks every
live
day.
with me. No marriage ever. Again, this my one marriage. If
Right.
this fails, I don't have another.
tapping out. No
I'm
more.
tapped out. I wouldn't even think of another attempt. It wouldn't even cross my mind. Not even I don't care who it was.
You think it would have been unavoidable back then for you to do what you did because you were young? You guys were both really young.
Yes.
And you were coming up in this game and, obviously huge artists going on the road on tour all the time. You think it was something that was kind of like...
I think it was unavoidable because, like I was saying earlier, where we come from and the amount of role models we have and the amount of people that say, this is the way to do and this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do. Like, I'm probably sure, like, I didn't hear to my late 30s, I think, from a Chris Rock special, how businessmen like to hang around married men. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? That's not,
right.
You don't hear that.
Yeah.
You don't hear that in hip hop. Like, you know what I mean? When you get to other business and then you start understanding
those
that.
business
But
meetings with your wife. And
yeah, like, you know what I mean? I think you don't grasp certain things. And it comes from a point where you didn't have them role models. Mm-hmm. Any guy who's really settled down and tried to do something at a young age or tried to do something, he was in love or was trying to find his way.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Or he might have probably came from a good family or half of a good family
Although
or something
they say
of
the
that
number one
nature.
occupation for cheaters is doctors.
Really?
Yeah, because they spend a lot of time in the hospital and they spend overnights there. They're always on call, so it's a lot of like,
have
we
excuses.
gotta
Interesting.
go.
Every show that I watch with doctors, they're always cheating. Like a series or something.
They probably
Makes-
numb the
makes
life
sense.
too. They see life come and go so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe they just
I
numb.
think it's just you have the opportunity because you can always be like, I'm on call. Oh, gotta go, gotta call. Now, Adjua, did you ever step out or even like during a break see anybody else?
You know why? For several reasons, but because to me that means you're weak. So I'm not weak.
It's the truth.
Shots fired.
We'll take
You see how
that.
she had to
I'm
look
not
at me like
We'll
when
take
she
it.
did
So-
it? Did you see the look, the pause, the look back? This is the things
just
in
because-
marriage you have to
because
take.
I was getting ready to say
And it's-
something and I didn't
and
want
you got to take them
You gotta take them
forever.
So
like,
for me,
it's like, how long does this
I
go
feel
on?
like
Forever.
I would have enough respect for myself and for my marriage to just leave. Like I don't need to do that.
Okay.
No. not myself.
But women are more precious than men. Let's say this on air. Just want to say this to society. That's it.
Yo, he's so
See, but that's where argument usually starts, right? Because you feel like you be like, because you were weak. Now, for me, I'm like,
But
so
I
you
do
think I'm a weak
understand.
man now?
But you know what's crazy though? I have to understand, and I was very empathetic to why he did it. Not that I would be again if it happened, but this particular time, I know where we were at.
right?
I know my contributions, and it was not nice. So, you know,
Thank you.
it's. But
That
I
was
told
very
you that.
kind. I
Yeah,
know, but for
you know.
to say it on air is champion
Yeah, that's
vibes.
just true. I haven't said it.
That's
I
champion
haven't.
vibes.
I haven't said it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no,
That's-
really,
that warmed my
because you
heart.
have to
Got
be
hot and
honest.
everything.
It's not
Thank you.
about a woman blaming herself or saying no, but everything takes two, you know, and you have to. There's cause and effect, you know, and you have to understand that if you hurt someone or if you intend on hurting someone and it actually works, you don't know how they're going to handle that. What they're going to, you know what I mean? So you know, in a buildup of certain things and, you know, it can happen. You know, it can happen.
I cannot
It
wait
really
to watch
happened.
Marriage Boot Camp with you guys.
I can't
Oh
wait
my
to see it.
God.
This is
That-
going to be
did you
fascinating.
ever-
It was so much fun.
Did you ever rap? Because I know you were best friends with Foxy Brown, and you were in the studio. You had to rap, and you had to have a rap name.
No.
You never rapped at
I
all.
just got my rap name. It was Panther.
So you never rapped at all?
No. But he wanted me to. And I used to mess around when
She
I was
wrote
younger.
me a verse once.
Wow.
How was
She
the verse?
ghost.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, she ghost wrote me a verse once.
So
And it was funny because I was like, at the time, she was like, how can I help? How can I help? I said, make a verse.
that's how you can.
Yeah, he was trying to be funny. And I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
tried to
okay,
be-
sure.
Leave me alone. Go make a verse.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
trying to be funny. And she actually made the verse. I left the beat. It was like this, and she wrote it for me. I was like, whoa, okay, wow.
Fire.
Ghost, did you use
Okay.
it, the Ghost?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. I actually,
And he
I
got
did.
compliments on it.
I
What
did
is
use
so?
it.
What is it? Can
Yes.
we know?
I forgot the verse, but it's something where I referenced Batman, Bane, Bruce Wayne, Bane.
That's
It's like
me.
a few albums ago, but she made like the whole middle verse.
Dang.
I was like, I said I'll tweak it up fix it so I could say it, but she actually made the.
So we can't say you don't write all your own
entire-
music.
Right, exactly.
That's what she's ghostwritten the verse. She has ghostwritten the verse,
That was fun though.
and she counts all my bars too. She definitely counts the bars.
I love it.
I definitely run my verses by her. No, it's funny. There's a time she go, yo, you ain't going hard enough. All right, get back ready, get back.
When
I'll
was
be like,
this? When was
word.
this?
Not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long.
Damn.
She like, you slacked
that's
off
when
a little.
Nickelback and a few
Yeah.
other things came
She
out.
like, you
Really
gotta
good
get-
projects.
Yeah,
after
she's
that.
like, you got to get back to what you do.
yeah.
I was like, okay.
I said that to Style. I don't know if you ever remember, right? I said that to you one time.
Uh-oh.
This is when you came home and you did an interview at Sirius. I was like, you don't sound the same when you went in. And you was like, what do you mean? I don't sound typical. I was like, you know what? Let me shut the fuck up.
Yeah, let me
I
mind
was
my
like, all right,
business.
Style P, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
I said that one
This
time.
is where he's at.
Now, another theme in the book you guys talk about is nutrition and how it affects people in general, right? And you talk about that a lot in the book, just how you guys changed your diet. You and your daughter changed your diet. Styles, I know you've clearly changed your diet too, and how that affected just your own well-being and everything, not just your health, but mentally and all of that. So explain that, because I think that's important for people to know too.
Well, let's see. Well, I talk about Candida, first of all, and a lot of people aren't familiar with it. And most times they aren't because doctors aren't familiar with it. It's basically when yeast gets in your bloodstream. So it's not like your typical vaginal yeast infection. That's not what it is. It's when the yeast actually is in your bloodstream and causes other issues like food sensitivities and arthritis and ulcers and so forth. But that's after a long period of time. And that comes from sugar, high sugar diet, high carb, white carb diet. So I was just going through a lot, and after detoxing and figuring out and finding out what exactly was wrong with me, I just altered my diet, and it just was life-changing. I mean, I was literally, I saw the difference from, well, first of all, when you if you have any sort of ailments, for the most part, you're uncomfortable, and you just may not even know it. You're just not at your best. So the minute you do anything to get into a better place, you'll start to see just little things change, whether it's your sleeping patterns, your thinking patterns, and that's what I started to see. So immediately I would notice how I would respond to certain things, how my skin was. Just being more connected to the universe, I would say, having a want to be more connected and a want to be more peace. But this is just from a better diet, which gave me better thinking,
Right.
and gave me better outlook.
And you
For
and your
me.
daughter actually did a whole detox together.
Oh yeah. And that's and that's how I kind of knew, like I felt like when she took her life, like she just had kind of not been in a good place for a minute, and certain foods give you erratic behaviors, added on to PMS, depression, whatever else is going on in your body. So, I was just around her long enough to know how she was on a organic, a healthy diet. So just in conjunction with, I guess, her atmosphere and her diet and everything else, just was her demise. But I'm truly a firm believer in diet. Is just
Yeah, 'cause
overall.
the better you eat, the better you treat yourself, and the better you treat people.
Yeah,
It's not
facts.
really, in layman's terms, is a lot of, all of us out here, we're in a fast society. You have your phones. We have the things we like. We have our hobbies. You know what I mean? But a lot of times we don't look up the most important things is the food and the nutrition we're putting in our body. We care about the outside of our bodies and the things we're into and we're wearing. But it's just simply understanding that if you try
The
to
more you
take
put
care
in
of
it, the more
yourself
you get out,
and the
you
more
know?
planted, the better energy you have. Like, you know what I mean? It's just you stand a better chance on having a better day if you feel better.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? And just being better to people in general. Like, a lot of people think it's a big,
Your defenses are up in a good way.
like we always say, well, I'm no super health guru. I'm no doctor. I'm no anything, but I'm smart enough or sensible enough to know that feeling good makes you treat people a little better. Like, especially like if you have a bad temper or you get hyped really fast or you get mad really fast or you get upset really fast, you should look into the things you're putting in your body and try to figure out how to slow down and just to take care of yourself.
It's the truth. I remember Yee tells the story all the time. When we first started the Breakfast Club, I used to eat every morning a Pepsi, can of Pepsi.
Oh, no way.
Sour Patch Kids and glazed donuts.
Seriously?
Every morning.
Are you serious?
Every morning. Sour Patch Kids, because I don't drink coffee, so I don't drink coffee or Red Bull or anything like that. So to give me that up was Pepsi,
okay.
Sour Patch
You
Kids, and
needed
glazed
that.
donuts.
Oh, wow.
But I was an ass, and you used to be like, yo, ever since you changed your diet,
That's
you're
like
not
an upper, but such a crash. It's so horrible
Yeah,
for your
awful.
system.
And you don't realize,
Oh my God.
and
You
people
crash,
don't
it's-
realize
Oh
you,
my
when
God.
you crash, and it gives you a horrible temper.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
absolutely.
people ask me
Irritable.
all the time, yo, you don't want to eat food again? You don't want to eat this and you want to eat that? I'm like, I'm not a good person to go there for me, myself, for my temper. Like maybe other people, but I think everybody should just mind what they're putting in
to
their
be
body.
honest with you, I don't know how some people function without having the proper bowel movements. Like I need a proper bowel movement. You know, like my mind feels like I'm not functioning right, or I'm not functioning right. You know,
Right.
if I haven't gone to the bathroom properly. So you know, that's another thing people
That's a
don't
good point,
understand
too. Yeah.
is that people think that
All
going
that
to the
shit in you.
bathroom every other day or like once a day is
It's
like
cool.
sufficient. It's really not. That means your system is backed up, your colon is backed up. You're not eating enough roughage. You're not drinking enough water. You know, you're not flushing.
It's waste.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of waste in you.
Yeah.
We just saying, I think in general society and a whole, especially, and then with hip hop, we just have to be more health minded
Right.
for moving
Yeah.
forward because
Yeah.
we all like nice things and nobody really says, yo, them nice things are not gonna happen. You're not gonna get them. You're not gonna be able to do them. Go places, even just enjoy a fresh air outside in a few years if you don't watch what you're doing. Now,
Yeah.
of course, anything can happen. You know, you could slip on a peanut, break
hit
your
by a
neck,
car,
and be
yeah.
gone, get hit by a car.
That would be
But
crazy.
you wanna, at least try to do what you can for your life. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
While you're here.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Juices for Life. Shout out to Pharmacy for
Pharmacy
Life.
for Life, our
What up,
wellness
what up,
brand.
what up?
Yes.
But we appreciate you for joining us. Thank
The
you so
Ethereal
much.
hike. And I want to say, I
And
am
the book
so-
is available
Yes.
today. Yes.
today. And we also have the book club
Yes.
happening at Juices for Life in
Yes.
Brooklyn at 277 Malcolm X Boulevard in Brooklyn. It's happening, that's right, tomorrow, Tuesday. So make sure y'all come through. You know how
Tonight.
we do it.
Happens tonight.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
tonight. It's happening tonight. And
That's right.
You know how we do with the juices for everybody. So come through. Styles and Adjua will be there. And I know it's going to be an amazing conversation. And I had a chance to see your book from the beginning to what it's morphed into now. So I just want to say, Adjua, I'm really proud of you for
Thank you.
putting
And I
it-
want to
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you
No, I'm
for
really
inspiring
happy.
me.
I'm
did.
really, no, you inspire me. So,
And they will have some books there too. So
Thank
if
oh
you
yeah,
want
there'll
to
be
pick
books.
up a
If
book
you want to
at
pick up the book.
That's right.
3,000 a book.
Well, thank you guys for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Love
Thank
is
you.
up.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.